Why'd you have to take me to Supercuts? This haircut looks horrible.
I had a coupon. You look good, honey.
Okay, guys, so I want to talk on something that I touched on in the last episode, and that's the impression that we are giving the world. What is the impression that the world has of the United Kingdom, and why are we pushing certain ideologies and certain framing to the outside world when that's the opposite of what the people want? This is a really good video because it illustrates the stark difference between the reality that these people coming here to take advantage of our system are going to face compared to what they've been told, or more, what they've been sold.
Just dropped the phone, yeah, and I'm having to give his run down, you know. Alright, go on, sir. Run, run. Why are you rubbing phones for? Hey, stop before I batter you. Stop before I batter you.
I'll just say, like, that is a good analogy of what's happening right now in the UK. The public are screaming, stop before we batter you.
Stop before I bang you, bro. Stop before I bang you, bro. You ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Stop. Drop that phone. Huh? Drop the phone, hang on. Drop that phone now. You better drop that phone now, eh?
Now, obviously what he did there, I don't know whether that's technically legal. I have no idea. I have absolutely zero clue, but it's certainly justified. Coming to this country and committing crimes against the people of this country, I think that's deserved. Let me know in the comments if you think that was deserved, but it is part of the bigger picture. What kind of message are we sending out to the world? Because if you're arresting people for preaching,
you exchange the Bible for a bear, and today the preachers of God's word are being arrested.
So another preacher's being arrested. What does that say to the outside world while we're allowing imams to preach from London Bridge?
Fair, shiny and new, like a virgin. Touch for the very first time.
Sing the call to prayer across London. But if it's a Christian preacher in the streets, arrested. Now, I don't know exactly what's happened here, but you get the point. We've seen this many, many times where people who are showing signs of Christianity openly are getting arrested. What does that say to the world? Let's have a listen to Robert Jenwick, who for some reason looks like he's a very, very tiny man sitting on a very, very large bench.
In just the last 60 days, a young girl in Epping sexually assaulted, a 10-year-old in Stockport nearly kidnapped, a 12-year-old in Nuneaton raped, as was a young woman in Portsmouth, and an 8-year-old in Lambeth, in each case allegedly by illegal migrants. When I hear these stories, I think these could have been one of my daughters. They are someone's daughter.
Dude, did you know about the over 100,000 Afghans that were smuggled into the country? And if you did know, why didn't you tell anyone? Why didn't you bring that up in Prime Minister's questions? Why were you silent on that?
It's no wonder that the public are furious. They're right to be. We're 7 years into this. 170,000 have come in, almost all young men, each one set to cost us almost £500,000. Hotels are transforming communities. No one wants to live in an area with men from backwards countries in the parks and outside the...
Good, I like that language, I like that framing, that is correct framing. We need to start denigrating the shitty cultures that they come from.
School gates. And of course, are these hotels where the politicians, the activists, the senior officials live? No, it's all a choice. Keep pouring billions down the drain and putting up with these crimes, or change our laws and deport those here illegally. People say it's more complicated than that. It's not. Australia stopped their boats in weeks. America has secured its southern border. It's about political will. It pains me the last government didn't have it. And it pains me, Starmers, even worse. Most of us are sick of not having a border, sick of all the other disasters that are
I'm going to cut him off because I'm getting a little bit tired of that. And the music is really, really patronizing. I don't appreciate being manipulated emotionally with music. I don't care how impassioned your speech is. And you were in the Tory party that oversaw these disastrous changes to the United Kingdom, and you were part of that system. Now, you might say that you were cobbled or handicapped and you couldn't do anything. Well, then, why didn't you just talk about it? This is the problem with you, Generic. You were silent for too long. Now I just don't trust you. But again, what kind of message is this giving the outside world, that we're not capable as a country to solve our own internal problems, to recognize our own issues? It's just, are we surprised by what's happening and the way that we're getting treated internationally? Are we really surprised by what's happening with the immigrants as well? Especially when we've got messaging like this. Like, I don't know what kind of psychopath thought this was a good idea, but it does remind me of something that we'll touch on later in this advert, and something I've covered previously, where they've been using children to basically advertise the United Kingdom to migrants.
Why have children been making Valentine's cards for refugees? That's what I've recently stumbled upon from a charity called City of Sanctuary UK. This charity wants the UK essentially to become a place.
Why do I get these vibes coming from that? Foreigner and homosexuals. And why is it always them?
Become a place, a nation of sanctuary. And sanctuary has become the new trendy term when talking about asylum seekers, illegal migrants. They're now referred to as sanctuary seekers by a lot of Labour councils. Many of them are becoming boroughs of sanctuary. And there are also universities of sanctuary.
So this is exactly the same system that they're using by the Democrats in America. They've got their sanctuary cities. Now we've got our sanctuary boroughs. It's all the same playbook. Obviously, look, you can say what you want now about conspiracy theories, but the WEF have talked about migration replacement openly. The UN have talked about it openly. It's been a part of their agenda for quite a long time. And it seems as though this has been applied internationally across all countries that are associated with the United Nations or the WEF. Now, call me out if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am.
Sanctuary and groups of sanctuary and nurseries and schools of sanctuary. In fact, according to City of Sanctuary UK's website, there are over 1,200 schools and nurseries taking part in the Schools of Sanctuary scheme.
Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? And who's the head of Ofcom again? Oh yeah, it's that fucking guy. What is going on, guys? What is going on? What are we saying to the outside world? What does this kind of messaging say to the outside world? What are the parents thinking of here, by the way? Where are the parents? Who is letting two little blonde children playing with some African migrants in the park?
Stop that.
Why aren't the men stepping in? This is weird, bizarre shit, guys. And this stuff here, like, I see two, like, right, okay, this is going to be mentioned later. Carl's going to make the same point that I had as well, so we'll talk about this in a sec. Again, going back to my previous video and going back to this one, this is something, again, that Carl has mentioned, or he's picked up on at the same time as me. So let's listen to him, and then I'll make some final comments.
So I really think we need to start worrying about the message that we are putting out to foreign men regarding our own children. Because as I covered in the video the other day, it's every day. Every day there is some kind of sexual assault. And I think that this is actually not to be unexpected, given the way that we have been promoting our country and ourselves and our own children to these men. They, I think, come from very different cultures to ours, cultures I personally find backwards, and we have been giving them the wrong signals. I mean, you may remember this from...
I don't think we have. I think the people that have co-opted our institutions and that have maligned our government are just corrupting the entire system. I think those people are doing it. And it's made up of ideologues and sociopaths that hate the country. You know, I don't care. I don't really care what flag you fly. If you're anti-British, I don't see you as any benefit to this country. Now, if we can deport you, I would say definitely do that. I think that's 100%. Let me know what you guys think. Like, do you think we should deport people that hate the country if we can? I think that's fair. I think that's entirely fair. I think that would be allowed in any country around the world. If you hate the country, you get deported. I think that's entirely fair.
Earlier this year, and this was only in January this year. This felt like ages ago. But I've actually changed my monitors. Normally I had the thing I was reading on that monitor, but then I realised it kind of makes me look like I'm looking at the floor. Whereas if I put it on this monitor, it makes me look like I'm looking at the thing on the screen that you can actually see. So it makes me look like I'm reading it. But anyway, so you may remember this from back in January, where a video of 2 young secondary school pupils welcoming refugees to Wales went viral because Elon Musk found it. And he was like, this is a bit weird, isn't it? Because, yeah, that was a bit weird, right? I'm not going to play it because it's got kids in it. But the schoolgirls help highlight the successful asylum seekers, what they can expect from the help from the Welsh Refugee Council, and how they're getting the wrong end of the stick, especially when you get things like this, where children from one school were like sending Valentine's Day cards to refugees. And it's just like, sorry,
it's mental.
Charlotte Gill found this. It's like,
it's mental. They're not refugees. You're basically sending. This is what you're doing, right? If you were part of this and you thought it was a good idea, this is how it's going to be seen by people. Okay, they're going to see you using children to send Valentine's cards to sexual predators. That's what they're going to see. Okay, everyone looking at this with a functioning fucking brain, that's what they're going to see. If you don't understand that, again, functioning brain, you need one.
I know what you think you're doing. No one will put their children in a boat unless the water is safer than the land. You think they're mostly women and children, right? They're not. The numbers are in. We know they're not. We know it's at least 75% adult men. And the thing is, a large portion of the children are going to be over 18 as well. They just lie about their age, right? And we know this because we had to scan their bloody teeth.
Yeah, that's a good point. And they stopped recording their ages as well, if I'm correct. They actually stopped recording the age of these people.
So, like, we know that I think it's going to be about 90% adult men. And so if you're in it's all a bunch of women and children, then sending them Valentine's Day cards doesn't seem so bad. It seems fine.
No, it doesn't.
But when you know that they're adult men...
It doesn't. It's super creepy anyway. Why are you sending Valentine's cards to fucking mothers? That's a bit weird. Why are you sending Valentine's cards to children? It is just freaky weird. There's absolutely no reason for this. Why did they choose Valentine's? Why didn't they choose Christmas or Easter or something? Spread our culture around. But instead, no. They use children to send Valentine's cards to fucking sexual predators. Well, that's what people are going to think anyway.
You can see how they're getting the wrong impression. And so, like, we seem to be offering these things to them. We seem, from their perspective, to be encouraging them to do the things that they're doing. And earlier, this video went around where it's 2 what appear to be Somalian adult men at a park playing with 2 unaccompanied blonde girls who look about 6, 7.
Mental. Like, mental.
And they're just, I'm not going to play it.
I wouldn't trust 2 white guys playing with some small children in the park. I'd be hoping that it's their father, but I'd be keeping an eye on them just in case. But Somalians, I mean, no. If I was a guy in that park, I would be walking over there. I don't care what anyone says.
Because YouTube can be funny about these things. But, like, obviously everyone's like, what the hell? Why are there 2 adult sort of Somali and African men playing with a couple of girls in the park. What is going on here?
Well, that's their Valentine, isn't it? They're just doing what they were told. Do you want to be my Valentine, Mr. Migrant Sexual Predator? Of course I do, darling. Of course I do. I'll meet you in the park.
Obviously. And then you've got, woke lefty on Twitter. Let's see what his... I bet he calls himself that. I see two guys interacting and innocently playing with two young girls in a park. Tell me what you see, flag shaggers. You think it's perfectly innocent for two adult men who are not related to these girls, obviously.
I see a potential horrific crime. That's what I see. I see a potential horrific crime.
To just be playing in a park with them. Just they rock up. Why are they in a park? Why are two adult men, who are obviously not accompanying children, playing in a park? And they just found some kids to play with, and they're just like, yeah, we're just going to play in a park with a bunch of kids. Is that normal to you, is it? Is that nothing? There's no warning bells.
Small amygdala.
That are, like, alarming in your mind. Being like, well, hang on a second. Like nothing goes... No, it's just that we're racist, right? It's just we're bigots. And we're bigots because we don't think that actually adult African men should be playing with 6-year-old, 7-year-old girls without any kind of supervision, or it's just strangers. They're just strangers. They're just playing with them in the park. I mean, what's wrong with it? Why wouldn't these adult men be playing in the park with a bunch of kids that are not theirs?
Now, the people that would let them do that fall into two categories. Either it's suicidal empathy, in which they believe that everyone is the same and they'll even endanger their own children just to prove a point, or it's malicious altruism, in which they're using your feelings and your empathy against you in order to gaslight you to allow this stuff.
Like, they don't know. Like, they're not in any way related to, not connected to. Like, why? What? It's just innocent. It's completely innocent. What are you thinking? And it's like, well, I'm sorry. I'm just more skeptical than this. And I'm quite suspicious of this because, like, if you look at, like, how do Somali women dress? How do Somali girls dress? Well, they're like this, right? They are a highly patriarchal society, right? The women are completely head to toe covered.
Yeah, and they're not very bright either. They've got one of the lowest IQs. I think it's an average of 68. In the UK, I believe, or it was when I was growing up, to be retarded, you've got to have an IQ of 70 or below. So the average person living in Somalia is classed as retarded. We're bringing in retards.
Who does that?
And that's not my opinion. That is statistics. You can't argue with raw data. And I mean, you could argue that we're bringing in the best and brightest, but we're not, are we? I mean, this is the ridiculous nature of what's happening right now. So, like, this is one example. I understand that, but if you're importing people from a radically different culture and they have a different set of values and behaviours, and then you just plant them in the middle of Sweden, for example, they're not just going to disregard those set of behaviours. They're going to continue doing exactly what they were doing, but now they've got Western medical advancements and monthly salary, like stipends from the government, free housing. So they just explode with kids because in their own country, that's what they would do because they had a high infant mortality rate. So they just had to keep spitting the little bastards out, right? But in the West, that's gone. They've got Western medical advancements. They've got free housing. Like I said, they're not going to go hungry. They're getting handouts for their children, probably for each one that they have. So there's a financial incentive there as well. So we're seeing these people do exactly what they would do given the situation that they're placed in. It's not really their fault, and I don't really blame them. I do blame the government, of course, and all the powers that be that are currently implementing this. Because we've got these shitlibs in our government. I mean, how are we ever going to fight a problem that's currently getting worse if our simp, bitch, wank-stain chancellor does this kind of bollocks? We can't be appeasing people in our own country, okay? What are you doing? I mean, just tell me, guys, do you think it's a good idea for a country that wants to survive, a country that doesn't want to be annihilated or lose itself? Do you think it's a good idea for that country to be simping out to colonial invaders within their own borders? Just wondering. Does it seem like a good idea? And of course, I'll just play this I'll just talk about this briefly. I might do a separate video on this. But with all the rape gang stuff, the cover-up that's went on for so long, are you really surprised that Yvette Cooper ended up blocking the investigation into police rapists? Are you surprised?
Rakib Basin. Rakib, this is a disturbing story. It just indicates that the rape gang scandal just keeps on getting worse. I just genuinely hope that when they finally have this national public inquiry, that it's a proper one, because we need to know the facts, and the estimated 250,000 victims, vulnerable young white girls mainly, many of them underage, they deserve justice. But this element of it is particularly troublesome, particularly worrying. It concerns the coppers, the police investigating the rape gang scandal, who used the opportunity to allegedly rape the victims, telling some of them allegedly that if they didn't comply with their sexual demands, they'd take them back to the rape gangs.
Now, it's good that Talk TV are finally covering this. It's been known for a long time. I've covered it a few times on this channel myself. Yeah, it's good that they're finally talking about it. But again, what kind of message does this send to the world? That we're allowing our government to lie to us openly? That we're allowing our government to cover up the most horrific crimes that I think have ever been enacted against any modern country? That we're allowing our government to flood our country with immigrants and migrants and advertise to those migrants using our children? It's not looking good, is it? So are we really surprised that we're getting flooded with third world migrants and sexual predators when these are the messages that we're putting out to the world? See you later.